The stock market could drop 40% just like the Great Depression. That's what Gary Schilling says. And I saw Graham Stephan, oh, my roof's got to get painted, regurgitating this. And I haven't watched Graham's video on it. I just know it's, man. So they're using this, oh my goodness, it's going to be like the Great Depression. It's just freaking clickbait. And it ticks me off. I'm so sick. We just went through a 35% decline. Literally in the freaking from February 14th to March 23rd, in 6 weeks' time, we just survived a 35% decline. Are you still here? Where are you? Did you jump off a bridge? What could it happen again? Sure, it just did. What happened in freaking 01, 02, and into March 03. 9, 11, actually 9, 12, 22% respectively. The first Q1 of 03 was down again. What happened in October 10th, 2007 to March 9th of 2009? S&P 500 is down 54%. I just don't get why are people still clicking on this clickbait crap? I mean, it's not like this hasn't happened, but they say it's like the Great Depression. It could go down 40%. 40%? Wow. That's a strong decline, but we just went through a 35% decline, for heaven's sake, man. I literally sit there and I just don't understand it. But people want to hear the negative stuff. It's crazy to me. I'm sick of it. I just am. And Gary Schilling, he's been negative Nelly since I've been following that guy on Forbes. I used to get a Forbes subscription back in like 1994. That guy's been a negative Nelly. I mean, I remember him back like 90% bonds and 10% stocks back then. And, don't quote me on that, but something like that. The dude's always been a negative Nelly. A bear market guy. I don't understand this need for this negativity, this clickbait. Look, I don't want to be a freaking Pollyanna. I just read someplace that Pollyanna wasn't really what we are attributing to Pollyanna, where all things are good. But I don't want to be Pollyanna-ish. That's now in the vernacular, so we'll still use it. But this idea, we're going to be like the Great Depression, 40% decline. Dude, we've had 40% decline time and again without being the Great Depression. And don't forget, what caused a lot of the Great Depression was leverage, man. Leverage, debt. People buying 10 shares with $1 or 10 to 1 leverage ratios. No one does it anymore. You can't margin that anymore. You can't margin like that. So a 40% decline is a big fat nothing burger, because in the last 20 years we've had 1, 2, 3. It's nothing. Wow, 40% decline. Tell me something I don't know. That shouldn't draw a clickbait, a 40% decline, but they use the term the depression in there to really get you thinking. All right, just remember, during the Great Depression, 75% of employees were still working, all right? At the highest, I think it was a 33 or 35, one of those years, 25% unemployment. So 1 in every quarter people looking for work were unemployed. That sucks. That's a lot. That still means 75% of employees had work, all right? Now, you take the Great Depression with the droughts of the 1930s, Oklahoma, and was it Steinbeck's book, and that makes it look even worse. And you see pictures of breadlines. Yeah, it sucks, man. Don't get me wrong. But the idea that we're going into a depression like that when we have welfare now, we have Medicare, we have Social Security, we got unemployment, we got all this kind of stuff. We got these safety nets. Like them or love them, we have them now. And so you're not going to be in breadlines to the extent that you were in the Great Depression. Of course, if you grow your own food, you have a whole lot more resolve to avoid that. Now we got freaking natural gas as cheap as can be until Biden gets in there, bans fracking and bans the Dakota pipeline. But we have all kinds of energy, cheap and readily available energy now with horizontal fracturing. This thing just drives me up the wall. This is not a depression. And when I say depression, I've said depression. I mean, again, a depression for me with a lowercase d, not the capital case D. Because I've done videos that we're going into a depressionary environment. That does not equate to the Great Depression. Depressionary environment thinks that we have deflation of more than just 2 quarters. 2 quarters of deflation is a recession. Well, we're out of recession now, so we're not going to a depression of any significance at all anytime soon. I just think we're still going to have low inflation, deflationary numbers like it. I think we're more all Japan. Might not be as bad as Japan, but I think Japan is the model certainly, where we have unemployment that's relatively low, low growth, low interest rates, low unemployment, and I don't think I think that's going to be here to stay for sure. Whether or not it's deflationary, similar to a la Japan, I don't know. Probably not, frankly, but certainly we could be. But depression would indicate at least a year of negative GDP, I would say. I don't think it was ever quite defined what a depression is. A recession is 2 straight quarters of negative growth. That's definitive. We already went through that in the Q1, Q2. We're beyond that now. We're not in a recession now. We're in growth mode. A depression, in my book, would be probably 6 quarters of negative growth, and we're not inherently. That's not happening. And the GDP numbers from 1927 through basically 1939 were negative. We had a couple years that they were growth oriented, but by and large, if you look at the GDP of those years, it was negative. 1927, 1928, 1929, going on and on and on and on. And again, we had no unemployment, we had no social safety net, we had margin through the roof. Just don't listen to these guys. I'm sick of this clickbait crap, especially from Gary Schilling. Why is anyone listening to this guy? Look. He's got opinion. I get it. I'm sure Stop Clock is right twice a day, but oh my lands. All right. Well, me and Pablo had something to say. What'd you say, Pablo? Pops, what'd you say about that? Are we in a depression? Bark if we're in a depression. Oh, knows Pablo's not barking, so Pablo knows all. All right. We'll see you.